How would you like to take a peek around at the biggest quilt show in the United States? Hi, I'm Bonnie McCaffery, and I am here at the International Quilt Festival in Houston, Texas, and let me tell you, it is a spectacular show. I think you're going to love it, so let's go take a look around. Anna, your quilt is absolutely beautiful. Can you tell me a little bit about how you make your quilts?
I put a black fabric and I made a design on it, and I cut it with the sharp knife. Well, the fabrics was prefused before with heat and bond light. Then after that, I put another colorful fabrics under piece by piece.
Okay, so you're cutting and putting a fabric one at a time.
Like mosaic.
So it's not...
Yeah, it's like a mosaic, but you put the cement first, okay? This is
I
what
like that. I wanted to stand here next to this piece so you could get an idea of the scale and the size of the little tiny points in this pieced miniature. I found my friend Jenny Bowker, who does the most incredible faces. And who is this person here?
This is Abu Ali. He's been a friend for a long time in Egypt, and he makes chairs, carved and gilded chairs.
So is that representative, his
Exactly.
chair on the side there?
Yep.
Do you teach the technique on doing the faces?
Yeah, sure. I call it my portraits class, but it's a 3-day class, so it's a long class.
Annette, your work is absolutely wonderful, and you've done it again. Another beautiful quilt.
Thank you.
Does she have a story?
Actually, she does. I started out thinking I was going to do A Woman in a Garden with the Roses. So, for whatever reason, the name Persephone jumped in my head. And so I started looking up, well, who was this Grecian goddess? And it turns out she was tricked into a marriage with Hades, the god of the underworld.
Uh-oh.
And she could only come back to the celestial world 6 months out of the year. So this became her haven away from him.
Here I am with Sharon Schomburg, who is a quilting genius, because every year she puts a quilt in, it is a winner. So tell me about this spectacular piece here.
Oh my goodness. It is 9 separate pieces. We have a center and then 4 on the outside, and they're all done separately and then put together with the filigree work. So that's macrame in there. Yeah.
That's macrame in there, and then your binding is...
Same thing.
It is almost all machine embroidery and quilting. It's made on radiant silk cotton fabric and about 47,000 yards of embroidery thread.
I found Another great quilt and another winner. This is Maria Waters, and she's from Australia. And tell me about this spectacular, gorgeous piece.
Oh, I just loved this piece. It was one of the fun pieces that I did after I did Renaissance Revival, using semi-soluble fusible stabilizers. It's an embroidery stabilizer, and it washes out, but it fuses to the back of the fabric temporarily.
I found another award winner. This is Susan Cleveland, and I love this funky piece.
Thank you.
Tell me about your piece.
One of the notable things about this quilt that's very strange, free motion quilting scares the life out of me. So on this piece, I decided I need to get over that. So what I did was I free motion quilted the quilt before I put the stars on. It wasn't so frightening if I wasn't afraid of bumping into things.
Are you shopping for a new bra? Well, here's where you want to look. Here is an art bra exhibit, and let me tell you, there are some gorgeous bras here. I'm not sure how many would go under your clothes, but they're really pretty to look at. So let's take a look. Now this just cracks me up. It's called the Hares version. Okay, I found my friend Gail Thomas, and her quilt is gorgeous. Tell me about it.
This one was inspired by my sweetheart. His uncle in 1948 was on one of the last trail rides, the last roundups in Alberta, Saskatchewan, in Canada. And this is 1948, just after the Second World War. In Europe, they were starving. So all these horses here are going to market to go to, the meat is going over to Europe to feed Europe. So what I also tried to do in this piece was create a watercolor with fabric paint, and I was able to do this with angel paint. The bottom, the frame, is turpunto. It's all been hand dyed and hand painted. Even the back creates the barnwood effect, and the label on the other side is hand painted.
Here is Pat Holly, and this is her spectacular quilt. Pat, tell me about your quilt.
My quilt is called Paisley Peacock, and it just won the award for innovative artistry, which I'm so excited about. It's all machine made, machine applique, and machine embroidery.
The embroidery is spectacular, and it's minuscule. And if you want to see more of Pat's technique, it's on one of the VidCasts. So go look at the VidCast, because Pat tells you how she does this embroidery. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, I found Sandra Leichner, and her quilt is wonderful, and there's lots of little secret things in there. Tell me about your quilt.
This quilt was made for my friend Miss Dee, and she's across the country from me, and this was a way to always be together with our tea party.
This spectacular quilt is by Rachel Deneni from Australia.
Yes.
What inspired you to make this quilt?
The original flower design came from a visit to Japan,
We used to visit a temple in Japan, and at the bottom of one of the columns was this golden carving of a flower design similar to this one.
Alison, I detect a little accent. Where are you from?
Yes, Auckland, New Zealand.
You are. And
Yes.
your quilt, I am stunned by the fact that you have captured on a still image motion.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you.
How did you get it to look like that?
I marked on the quilt where the edge of the shoulders, the helmet, whatever, came, and then I just used stitching backwards and forwards until
Right.
I had that feeling of speed.
Okay, I found Sandra Ladderback, and this is a pretty neat looking quilt, and you were telling me you had a way of doing the black curvy pieces.
Yes, I fused the black fabric with Wonder Under and made slits with my rotary cutter, curvy slits. And then I was able to pull it apart to give the spacing to make it wave-like, which I emphasize with the quilting.
Ruth Ann.
Yes.
This is a lovely quilt, and I am so amazed that you have captured the illusion of water. This leaf is floating in water, is that right?
Yes, it's on wet pavement. What I did on this quilt is I took black fabric, I took white paint, and I sprayed it on, and I splattered. But before I did that, every single one of these was covered with freezer paper. And then I took every single one of those off, and there's more than 500 of them. And then the leaf is done with my hand-dyed fabric, and then I thread painted it.